Hey there, Hallmark hot takers. Welcome to our next installment. You didn't like that?
That's what they're called?
That's what they're called, yeah.
Art fans.
Okay. We're going to review another movie tonight called Christmas with the Darlings. Could it get any cuter?
It was a darling.
So right before she moves on from her executive assistant title, Jessica helps her boss one last time by caring for his younger brother's orphaned nieces and nephew. But in due time, she learns the complications of mixing business with pleasure. So we are going to go ahead and review this movie, and Jay will reiterate the rating system for you.
5 candy canes each, based on how amazing we thought the movie was, for a total out of 10 candy canes.
It's going to be epic. All right. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's briefly recap. I have to be careful when I say that because I don't always say that well. Christmas with the Darlings. So we start off with Jessica, who is a recent law school graduate and bar exam passer, who is going to leave her job as executive assistant to Charles at Darlington Corporation and go work in Darlington's legal department. So Charles is left in charge of his 3 nieces and nephew after his brother and sister-in-law perish in an accident. So they are coming to stay at the Darlington residence in Connecticut from Australia. This is a big change for them. Not only are their parents dead, but they got to leave the country. It's just very awful. So they're going to come to stay, and Charles's big plan is, I don't have time to care for kids because I got to run this corporation, so they can stay here for a couple weeks, and then they're off to boarding school. So Charles has a younger brother, Max, who is a bit of a free spirit. He's off gallivanting all the time, ski trips. He's got a ski trip planned for Christmas. He comes home and he says, hey, you know what? I'll step up and I'll entertain the kids for a couple weeks before Christmas, and then I'll go on my ski trip.
Which is a shock to everyone because Max is not
because it's not Max's thing, right? He's just, yeah. So Jessica, who's there for this, she's pretty type A personality, and Max is much less so. So she's not so keen on Max watching these kids by himself. So she says, hey, you know what? My job with you is the legal stuff doesn't start till the first of the year. I will help Max watch these children. And Charles says, well, that's great because I got to prep for this new client, Mr. Lee, who's coming to our corporate Christmas party because we got to land this account. So you two handle the kids. They'll be gone after Christmas. It'll be great. So that's what happened. So the kids come to stay, and Max and Jessica really make it a festive Christmas for them. They do all the fun Christmas things. They make cookies, they make snowmen, they decorate trees, they do the whole thing. And the kids, however, there is the scepter of boarding school hanging over their head because they know they can't get too attached because they're just going to have to leave. So it's actually kind of, a little bit sad.
It was.
And, the kids really start to bond to Max and to Jessica. I mean, the one little girl has a nightmare, and she comes into Max's room and asks her a story. And you could tell that everyone's getting really attached. And, the older sister is like, oh, don't everyone get attached because we all know what happens. It's, we're going to have to leave. So it's just very difficult. Everything's just very up in the air. And meanwhile, you find out a little bit more about Max. He has an MBA. He is actually very smart. He knows a lot about the business, but he feels he's never been taken seriously by his older brother, Charles, because by the time Max, came of age, Charles was already running the business and didn't really need his help. So he's just played the part that he's been given, but he'd really like a stronger role at Darlington to prove that he can do what he can do. And then we learn a little bit more about Jessica. One of the reasons she agreed to help Max is because she knows what it was like to spend Christmases alone. Her parents were divorced, and then she lost her mother when she was younger. So she feels a bond about, making Christmas special for the kids. And, as they start to share these personal details, well, what do you think starts to happen? A little romance develops.
There's a little romance.
A little romance. which is very touching. And, you know, they spend a lot of time together, and Jessica finds out that Max actually does a lot of philanthropy work, but like all good philanthropists, he doesn't want the credit. He does he does it anonymously, and we just find out that there's way more depth to him than anyone ever thought. So what happens is this all culminates in the Darlington Corporation Christmas party, which has been moved to the Darlington house because the big bad corporate man, Mr. Lee, the importance of family is great with him. So they want to show him that the Darlington Corporation feels the same way. So they invite the families to the Christmas party, and you know, Mr. Lee shows up, and Max greets him at the door, and they start talking like old buddies, just, you know, shooting the breeze about places they've been and things they want to do. And then over comes Charles, and he's like, business. And Max is like, but I can do business too. And Charles is like, no, I do the business. And then, you know, So Mr. Lee is enchanted by the party. He's enchanted by Max. He's enchanted by the kids. He tells Charles, hey, I want to do business with you because I just like the way that you put family first. And then Charles realizes that, you know, he has not given Max the credit that he deserves. And wouldn't you know, he offers Max the bigger role that he wants in the company. Yeah. And he's going to be the liaison for the Lee deal, but he's got to go to Taiwan.
Yeah.
And that means he's going to miss Christmas with the kids. And this is very upsetting. But he asked for it, so he can't like say no.
No.
This is what he wanted, so he's got to go. So, you know, Jessica never really has the chance to tell him how she feels about him. So he, you know, goes to the airport, and Jessica is very sad. But then she goes into Charles and says, I don't think you should make the kids go to boarding school.
No.
They need to stay at this house.
This is my place to say this.
Right, because I am your former assistant.
Yeah.
/ new attorney. But she kind of is pretty type A. She takes the reins, so it's not like out of character for her.
No.
And Charles says, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great. It's not really a fight. She like says, I'll come and I'll take care of them. And he says, why would you do that? And she says, because I love them.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay then, sounds good. They can stay. So the kids are staying. And then he finds out that Jessica's been offered a job as a family law attorney by the attorney who helped transition the kids. And Jessica's always sort of been drawn to that, but she doesn't want to leave Darlington because Charles has always been so good to her, and she really feels that, you know, she owes him. And Charles says, dude, do what you want to do. If this is what you want to do, you have my blessing. So she goes and takes the job, and then she realizes, you know what, even though Max is going, I still have to tell him how I feel about him. So she gets in the car and she tries to drive to the airport. But Max is already pulling into the driveway, having decided that he can't leave the kids or Jessica before Christmas. So Charles admits that he's been in love with her Max has been in love with Jessica since the moment he laid eyes on her, and Jessica loves him too, and they kiss, and then they go in and Uncle Max is back, and the kids are all excited, and then they tell them that they're not going to boarding school, and everybody's happy, and that is Christmas with the Darlings.
That is an amazing review. Let's get to ratings.
All right, stay tuned. Okay, after a lengthy debate off camera, I am going to go first for the rating today. And first, let me talk to you about what I liked and disliked about this movie. I'll start with my dislikes first. So at the end of the movie, there's, you know, Jessica's kind of arguing with Charles about whether or not the kids can stay. And he's like, well, who's going to watch them? It's like, dude, you could just hire a nanny. This is not really an issue. So I kind of felt that it was like, you didn't need Jessica to say she was going to watch the kids after school, or you could just hire a nanny. So I thought that was kind of silly. And they drink a lot of hot chocolate in this movie. Like,
is it negative?
No, but it was so much. Like every scene, they're drinking hot chocolate. I just thought it was a little bit of an overkill. So that's really all I disliked about this movie.
So what did you
So
like?
my likes were the mom's recipe card.
Amazing.
They pulled out the dead mom's recipe card, and the girl's like, oh, this is mom's handwriting, and it was really touching. And then Emma was the big sister, and she was just always looking out for the little ones, just making sure that they were okay. And I just thought that was really touching. And Mrs. B, the housekeeper, a total delight.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that Max did his philanthropy anonymously.
Yeah,
because
that
that's the way you're supposed to do it. And I really liked the fact in the romance department that you could tell in the beginning that Max kind of stepped up because he kind of had a thing for Jessica. Like it wasn't overt, but you could tell, and I really liked that. And at the end, when he admitted that he'd been in love with her for 2.5 years, it was just really touching because you could kind of see it, and he just never felt worthy of her because he had this, reputation as an idiot. But he really wasn't. So that all being said, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I am surprised I enjoyed this movie. So I am going to give this movie, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm giving it 5 candy canes. Just happened.
Wow, 5 candy canes.
5 candy
Did not see that coming. Did not see that coming. Well, that's amazing. So I will start with my dislikes as well. I thought the kids' acting was hit and miss on this one.
I thought they were better.
It was better. It was still hit or miss.
No, they're kids.
They're kids. They're hired. They're getting paid. So things I liked. I loved Max. I thought he was a great lead on this from start to finish.
Soup to nuts, as they say.
Campbell's soup to nuts on this one.
There was a Campbell's product placement, and it was amazing.
It was fantastic. They were eating grilled cheese. That can of soup was right there. Loved it. And also, I love the emotional ties. So the toffee recipe that you mentioned, the missing puzzle pieces, this point where they're putting a puzzle together, and when Max leaves, the nephew, he puts the puzzle piece in his pocket. So he's at the airport, he pulls his phone out, and there's a puzzle piece. So that's cool, like tying him back to the right decision is to go back. And then I thought it was amazing at the end, he's sitting in the airport and he's making a list, which is like kind of funny because he is like kind of this free spirit, wants to do anything on a whim. And he's got this list, and then she does the like just going out there and go driving to see him. So like it's like this switch of roles, which I thought was fantastic. So my rating,
I'm so excited.
5 candy canes.
Up! You did not just do that.
I did.
Oh my God, Christmas with the darlings. That gets 10 candy canes. Can you even believe it?
No one's going to believe it.
I didn't think it was going to happen. So that puts it at the top of the leaderboard. It has knocked Chateau Christmas off the leaderboard.
Get that out of here.
Wow. Just so much emotional goodness to the story. It was really well done. So
loved it.
Great. Okay. Stay tuned for what's next.
So Heidi, what's next?
Okay, so after all that fun, the next one we will be reviewing is Christmas in Vienna, starring Sarah Drew and Brennan Elliott. So this is about, while in Vienna for a violin concert, Jess rediscovers what made her fall in love with music in the first place, all thanks to her new flame.
Sounds delightful.
I'm so excited about the 10 candy canes.
I never saw it coming.
All right.
Bye.